Karen, and
It's can you see me? It's quite dark
are
there.
you going to introduce yourself?
It's Chris.
It is dark. It's because
Oh.
it's autumn. We've lost our light. We've got a spotlight up there that's not working.
I've got a light right into my face, but that's not even, that backlight's
I
not on
know.
properly.
It's because
No, it's because you've got your glasses on and you don't want that light to be too bright. So therefore I suffer. Yeah?
okay. That's a nice way to start the session, wasn't it?
Well, they can't see me. It's like a shadow.
Well, that's because you weren't here sorting out the lighting. I was, so you know what?
Right, here we go.
Miss out. Snooze, you lose.
I can't see it. It's like what
Right,
James Bond all over again.
hello. Sorry, after that slight domestic to start the session today, we're talking about why we give up, really. So we kind of get started on something and then get stuck. All the good intentions in the world, and then we get stuck. So let's spin that on its head and talk about how to stop giving up, which is really a form of kind of it's psychology. It's a bit of behaviour change, however you want to dress it up. But unfortunately, it's a bit of overriding our human nature, isn't it, Chris?
Managing expectations. We stack the system way towards optimism at the start, and that's probably the main reason why we fail, why we stop and we give up.
So true. You think all of the dots are going to join together, and all the puzzle pieces are going to just fall into place, and then a child gets ill, or dog needs to go to the vet, or any unexpected bill comes in, or something extra is piled onto your load for the week, whether that's sort of some family admin or what have you, and then suddenly it sort of slip back into your old ways.
Well, the old way, you will always revert back to type, and the fundamental issue which led you down the path in the first place will always rear its ugly head. It's very similar to a golf. Can you use a golf analogy?
You
Is that
use a
right?
golf analogy. You go golf, I go cake.
When you've got guys playing golf, mainly men playing golf, they offer unsolicited advice, which is if someone's playing poorly or they play a bad shot, someone will say, "Oh, you've done this thing," and never give advice on the golf course. Never, because there's always a fundamental issue with that person's swing or body as to why they can't perform in a certain way. But that individual thinks, "Oh yeah, this one tip, it does work."
Yeah.
And the worst thing is if that tip does create success short term, because they think this is it. I've hit the promised land. And that could be you've gone low carb, or you started fasting and you start losing a little bit of weight. You think, this is it.
Those fads that you see. We've switched analogies now.
And the thing is, even though that tip does have does work in this right application, the best advice is the worst advice could be the best tip at the wrong time. That person, just back to golf, needs to do other things, not do that one thing which they think they're missing. Because if they think it's that one thing that's missing, what happens is it works for a bit, then it stops, because the fundamental issue rears its head, and then all of a sudden they think, "I'm back to square one."
Yeah.
Well, actually, that wasn't true. You just took on poor advice and didn't really understand now we're in a car, the road that you were leading down. But you've got a bacon analogy.
Mixed metaphors. No, I didn't actually have one. I was just saying, in general, you use golf analogies. I use baking analogies. I think for me, if we were going to go with the baking analogy, I would probably say what happens is you keep trying to make a Victoria sandwich cake, and it keeps going wrong. So you think, do you know what? I'm just going to make a chocolate cake.
Yeah.
And that chocolate cake might go well once, but you've not fixed the problem with the Victoria sandwich cake, which is maybe you just needed to tweak the oven temperature. Maybe you needed to buy better quality eggs or flour. Maybe you needed a better mixer. Point being, you don't just suddenly switch everything that you were doing to try the new thing. There might be little things that you just need to do about what you're already doing that will make a bigger difference.
It is, and I think tackling the fundamental issue that you have, which is when you're trying to change a habit, it requires a very secure individual, because you are going to unpick some dark places which you don't like to visit. Maybe some insecurities about yourself, maybe some old habits triggered by previous things in your childhood or school experience.
Yeah.
These things aren't pleasant. And I think we take on new tasks with the belief that it's just as simple as drinking more water. Here's how drinking more water, which is a very good tip to do for most people, isn't going to work for you. So you don't drink very much water, but you know that drinking more water is better for your health. So you think, right, I'm going to drink more water. That's all it is. I'm going to lay out 8, 10, 12 glasses of water a day. You go through day 1, day 2, day 3, and you think, yeah, this feels great. Day 4 and 5, you think, oh, I can't bother doing this. But no, I should. But I can't. Oh, but no, but it's so easy. But my friend does it. But now I feel like a bit of an idiot because it's so easy to do. Then other things happen. Now, the problem then is that you could have triggers in your childhood, which is you made to feel silly as a child, made to feel stupid, not taking responsibility for things, and things were always your fault. And that can trigger all those cascading events, which you thought you dealt with years ago, and it compounds the issue. And a lot of people tell me the same thing, that they always feel a sense of stupidity about not being able to do a certain task. Yeah. And when you dig into why that is, they were made to feel or told they were stupid or silly by teachers or by parents or by siblings. And so that then triggers this cascading event, which unfortunately makes a habit much harder to cement. Yeah. And until you unpick those things one at a time and deal with them as they come along, which is, listen, I'm not stupid, I just forgot to do X, Y, Z. As Karen mentioned earlier, if you don't analyze the plan, you don't really know why the plan failed in the first place. No. So it's not necessarily the execution.
Don't throw the plan out of the window just because you've been triggered by something.
Yeah.
You don't suddenly need to go completely onto another thing or a fad or feel that that's going to fix everything. It really isn't. I speak from experience. I mean, my triggers don't necessarily affect my fitness, because actually that kind of keeps me going. That keeps me sane. That it works for me. But I'm not infallible to other areas of my life that get affected when I get triggered. Only this week I sort of meeting up with old school friends and those sort of feelings of not feeling particularly confident, and then that means you don't really want to put yourself out there, and then that kind of it goes into all sorts of things. So we're not alone, in terms of having those things that kind of keep pushing you back, and you have to sort of stop yourself, think, right, I'm going to just feel like this today, sit with the feeling today, but I know that tomorrow I'll be able to see a little bit more clearly and get back onto the plan where I was. But if you didn't have a plan or a roadmap or a blueprint or someone to keep you on track, there's a really good chance that you're going to end up just like that. It's not working for me.
No habit has a walled garden around it which doesn't affect other parts of your life. And just like when you get success or create success in maybe doing a task that you put off, and you think it could be whether it's clearing out the shed, and then you feel slightly industrious and think, oh, you know what, it makes that to trim the bushes and mow the garden. One habit feeds into another habit. I guarantee when, which we all quit at some point, where we take a detour, hit a speed bump, when this happens, you need to draw on what's happened in the past where you've had success. And I guarantee you'll have had success somewhere in your life. So when your brain starts to catastrophize about how silly or stupid you are, when you look back about areas in your life where you've been successful, you've got to counteract the narrative of what your brain's telling you. It could be, for example, you know what, I did a really good piece of work many, many years ago. I was really proud of it, and I made a nice plan, and you have to look at how and why that was so successful back in the past, not at how foolish you are now for your plan you're trying to make now, which has been made with maybe no plan, or maybe you've not managed expectation levels. So I guarantee you, everyone will have had success somewhere in their lives, and they must look back where they achieved success and draw on not what they did, but how they did that.
And also, I think, I want to add to this, Chris, the fact that the feeling that you had when you did that thing, and it was successful, how did it feel for you, and why did you feel that way? What was it about what you succeeded in, or what you accomplished, or what you achieved, that kind of fed into the things that bring you joy, or make you feel fulfilled, or make you feel complete? What was it about that? And it's possible that you can take that and sort of feed it into the situation that you're in now.
But I guarantee as well, there'll be a certain element of the, let's call it the habit change journey, which will involve just getting stuff done.
Yeah, it is.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
And this is where somebody may look at getting either a trainer or working with a group of people, or maybe a weight loss group, or a support group. And they're there for those moments when you think, I'm not sure I can be bothered to do X, Y, Z, and someone says, just get it done. The just get it done can't work for the majority of the journey, because then it becomes unpleasurable, and you'll be then thinking this is painful.
Stuck. Yeah.
And it being painful triggers again more memories in the past, which could have been times where you really hated a job, or you hated a relationship, or these things come back, and your brain tries to protect you from those things and says stop. So giving up is not necessarily a bad thing. Your brain's just rewired, thinking that you're reliving a previous trauma, a previous experience. So what you've got to do is make sure that you're giving your brain the best chance possible to say, this is a safe environment, however, I need to make some tweaks. Never think of a failure or a road bump as a failure. See it purely as a time where I've got as far as I can, and I need to adjust something to get a little bit further. This will continue to happen, and if you don't make those adjustments and just keep thinking to yourself, no, I've just got to do it and push through, then unfortunately, you just will end up trying and failing time and time again. Whenever someone tries to give up smoking cigarettes or alcohol, I think they say it's 7 times about giving up cigarettes before they succeed finally. So you must be preparing yourself for the times when you hit that brick wall. If you're trying to create a new habit, and this is really important, that you've never done before, an old friend of ours said, what did you say now? A door is no longer a door a barrier is no longer a barrier once you've gone through it. It then becomes a door. If you've never done the thing that you're trying to do, your brain has no concept of how to get to that point. That could be a new PB. It could be a new weights goal. It could be being stronger in a certain way. And with strength, so one of my favorite topics, the majority of the work I do with people about strength and strength training, are getting stronger than they've ever got in their entire life, is mental, because they have a fear of what it feels like. They have no idea how to get stronger or to be stronger than they've ever been in their entire lives. Running a PB, people don't know how that feels. So that requires a little bit of coaching, a little bit of help, and a bit of support, either people around you or have been through that journey themselves, or have taken people through that journey, as trained professionals have done, to help coach you through that point, because you won't just think, oh wow, I did something I never did before, that's amazing. In most of the times it's my gosh, I just don't know how to get through that point. I've never gone through that point. So in summary,
an action plan.
An action plan. We need to think about making sure the cards are stacked in our favour from the start. And when you make a plan, you are making sure that it is realistic. And
smile. You look very serious.
I can't see because the art.
Okay, well you can see you're not smiling because you can't see your teeth.
Yeah, because I'm looking at the top camera.
Okay.
Right? So when you're making a plan, you're smiling too much now. You're making me look I'm not smiling.
You did smile.
I do smile. I've got 1 minute. That's 1 minute wasted now.
All right,
So when you're making a plan, just make sure that you have it all stacked up in a realistic way at the start. So if you say to yourself, let's say a weight loss goal, you want to lose 2 stone. You want to lose 2-3 pounds first. That's the first goal, all right? And then at that point, when you've lost 2-3 pounds, you then keep it off. But then you must look at habits that help you with that. Is it support network? Is it friends? Is it family? Is it ordering food at home? Is it getting better at cooking meals and meal prep, and so on and so forth?
I mean, you might be someone that loves planning, and that might be your thing. If you're not someone that likes planning, if you're someone that really just likes to create things and new things, then you might need someone to help you with that planning.
Yeah. Number 2 is it a place you've been before? As in, is it a new habit you're trying to or sort of refine or refocus on? If so, look back at some of the things that you have helped you achieve success, and think, what was put in place to enable me to create those things in the first place? It could be that particular habit, or it may be previous projects, whether it's at school or whether it's at home.
And what behaviours did you do that really helped you to sort of push through that barrier and achieve that success?
Absolutely. And then last but not least, you must always make sure that you are planning for that road bump. When you hit that road bump, it will happen. It will always happen. So even though we've called it, how to stop giving up, or planning to not fail, I look at failure as not individual failures, but it's right at the end of a journey. If you've tried 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 times, and then you've realised and say to yourself, you know what, this isn't going to work, you might even say that's a failure, but it could even be it wasn't right. But every now and again it not working out, it does not mean that it has been a failure.
And can I also just add here something personal that works for me when I come into those roadblocks, and I feel like a roadblock or a trigger is like a massive big red flashing light. You can't really focus. Suddenly everything feels like it's gone south. Having a kind of ABC, so like a checklist. Is this as bad as I think it is? Let's be reasonable about this. Whatever it is for you, am I really stupid? So just give yourself like a little list that you can go through, that you can kind of rationalise that thing that's just happened, so you don't feel like this is a disaster zone. It kind of stops you going into that, complete crazy head mode. Just give yourself, and you do need to plan this in advance, plan for that roadblock. If you know the things that trigger you to give up, let yourself in a rational state of mind, work out what the things you would need to ask yourself to kind of push you out of that.
Yeah, and willpower motivation is very short-lived.
Yeah.
Don't think that that's going to help you long term. It doesn't work that way at all.
It's hard. It's hard.
It helps you for a little bit, and there are definite things that coaches and myself can help with you to be able to get to that goal. But most people, when I sit them down and look through the habits trying to create, without question, it is they have a unrealistic expectation about their plan, their time frame, time commitments, and also where they're heading as well. So just make sure that you are realistic and make small goals and make them more often.
Thank you. Right, we are over and out for this week. We will see you next week. Thanks for
Bye-bye.
watching. Bye.